The following program is brought to you in living color on...
Hi, welcome to Ward 13, the baseball show. I'm doing a Chris Hebert, and I'm looking at the I'm looking at the monitor. I injured the nerve in my arm. My guest today is Mike Martineau.
Thank you for having me on such short notice.
Yeah, it was short notice. I didn't hear anything from Gonzo after like 9 o'clock.
So Gonzo was supposed to be a guest. Okay, that was his.
No, he wasn't supposed to be. I didn't even know if I was going to come in today because I got to go to Dartmouth Hitchcock to get my arm looked at again because it's. And we have Thomas Massingale. Tom, Brendan, why don't you put the camera on Mike and I'll introduce Tom. Tom Massigale, tell us a little bit about yourself. And say hello to Mike Martineau.
Hi, Mike. Mike, you're not related to Lisa and Laura Martineau, are you?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, thought I'd try. They were from Westport. I don't know where they are now, but Westport, Connecticut. So it's not that far from you.
Well, I think
Okay,
Mike.
I'm
Go ahead.
a naturopath, nutritionist, homeopath, and general wizard, apparently, and a huge baseball fan. I live in London and Santa Fe, but I've been locked down in Santa Fe since lockdown happened. And here I am, and thoroughly enjoying baseball again. All this time, everyone told me what to watch on television. Didn't wind up watching a thing. But since baseball has come on, TV comes back on most days. Just for that.
Ask him what his team is.
What's your favorite team, Tom?
Oh, the Yankees. I grew up. If you grew up in Connecticut, by far the easiest stadium to get to was Yankee Stadium. So we were Yankee fans.
You were from Darien,
And
Connecticut.
they were a terrible team all through my childhood. So I paid the dues. I'm not like a Dallas Cowboys fan or a Manchester United fan or a Chelsea fan. The Yankees were losers when I became a fan.
Well, let's go to a two-shot now. 'Cause
We know that's changed.
when Tom was born, it was the Yankees won the World Series against the Milwaukee Braves as part of the 4 straight pennants. The year I was born, which is the next year, was the one year, other than 1954, that from 1949 to 1964, the Yankees didn't win a pennant. In fact, the musical Damn Yankees is based on a novel, the year the Yankees didn't win the pennant. So he's talking about his childhood. Tom, until you were like 6 years old, how many World Series did they win? They won the year you were born. From 60 to 64, they won 5 straight pennants. So you don't
And
remember Mickey Mantle?
I discovered baseball in 1967 for the first time, really.
Me too.
My grandfather was, it's funny because he grew up as a Yankees fan, but then he raised me as a Cardinals fan.
Your father?
We used to go to Al Lang Field in St. Pete, where he lived once he became elderly.
Oh, your
And
grandfather.
go to spring training and see the Cards. So I was a Cardinal fan in 68, 69. The first time I went to Yankee Stadium was Mickey Mantle Day.
Well, that's
It
nice.
was a double. They were so pathetic that even on Mickey Mantle Day, they had to have it be a double header so they could fill the place up.
Yeah, the days of
And this was
3 million fans were in the future.
right, but I mean, imagine saying goodbye to Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, I remember Mickey as a kid. We were born at the end of the 50s, Mike. And the Yankees were the team, you know. The Dodgers, when we were kids, started coming up. I remember World Series with Sandy Koufax. But, you know, 67 is the first one I remember. That was the Impossible Dream pennant. Which,
Right. Yeah, I remember that too, Johnny.
yeah, you remember it because why? You were a Bob Gibson fan.
Yeah.
They beat the Red
Bob
Sox.
Gibson, Mike Shannon. Who was it? It wasn't Simmons yet. Who was it? Oh, McCarver, of course.
Orlando Cepeda won the MVP that year for the St. Louis. What's
Yep.
the? Now I'm going to
They
ask.
were a great team.
I'll ask you both. What is the Manchester, New Hampshire, Orlando Cepeda connection? Mike, this is before your
Was
time.
he a Sea Dog?
No, in 1973, William Loeb of the Manchester Union Leader awarded the Designated Hitter Award, and Orlando Cepeda won it. And then the league took it over, although you never really hear about that. And because, you know, William
Right.
Loeb was a crackpot. But when do you start getting into
I
baseball?
still-
Mike?
I started when I was probably 5, 6 years old, so that would be around 1999, 2000, when I started playing T-ball over at Northwood League, and then I've been a fan of the game ever since because having the Fisher Cats in town and having our newest major league team just be Boston. So,
Yeah.
So
Now, Tom, Mike has worked for the Double A affiliate of the Buffalo Jays.
yeah.
What do you think about the
Right.
Blue Jays playing in Buffalo? You still there?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking you.
Me.
Well, you know
What
about
think about it.
COVID.
I mean, there's no fans in the stands, so it doesn't really matter where they are. You know, Cuomo invited everyone to come play in New York, and that wouldn't hurt things a bit.
Well,
Fans wouldn't
you know,
lose a thing beyond what we've already lost.
well, one of the things is like the NHL is playing just in Canada because they can create a bubble, but then until
Right.
the influx of Eastern European players, if you were an NHL player, you usually were Canadian, so there's no tax issues involved. The Canadian government won't allow United States teams to come into Canada because of COVID. And look how many people on Tampa Bay have COVID, Tom? Tom knows a lot about COVID. He's been on the show and talked about it.
Tampa Bay or Miami?
Yeah,
Miami,
yeah,
excuse me.
Yeah, it's like
I think weren't there 14 personnel. I forget how many of them were players, but most of them.
I think it
And
was.
another player test positive yesterday for Miami.
I think it was like 11 players and three other personnel that got COVID just on
11?
Miami. Just on Miami, and consider
but since then, there's another player, so there's 12 players now.
The last time I looked, because I was planning on doing the show this weekend, for my arm started hurting again. That's why we didn't do the show last week. I had to go, but it was only 3 or 4. So now it's 12 players.
Yeah, and Toronto has tried to get into other major league ballparks to play their home games, but they won't allow it. And some of the players are driving not playing in these minor league ballparks because the clubhouses aren't as nice. So that's why they won't even consider Manchester. That would be a great thing for Toronto to come here, but
Right, they never seriously thought about going to Double A. Remember
Are the dimensions in New Hampshire like Major League Ballpark?
Well, it's only got 8,000 capacity, 8 or 9, right?
No, I don't mean capacity. That doesn't matter. But are the walls of Major League distance?
Which I know center field's a straight 400, and I think it's 350 down both lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just that the players' union's not going to let them go into an inferior facility because minor league players aren't treated naturally as well.
And the lighting at these minor league facilities, they have lighting so they can play night games.
Right.
But it's not as superior as what you get at the major league ballparks.
Yeah.
No. I would imagine the infrastructure for television is also pretty inadequate.
But what's about other teams? If Miami has 12, what's going on with the Yankees?
All right, let's talk about Miami for a minute.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen the actual cause. They made a suggestion that it was a charter plane, and I
that
think
they got
that
sick
is incredibly unlikely.
17.
There's no way Rob Manfred would not make sure the teams were having any housing, whether it was a plane or a bus or a hotel, whatever it is, any space they're going to go into and touch, Rob Manfred would make sure those were deep cleaned under every circumstance. So I don't think it was a charter plane. I think they're just... These guys are young guys from Miami are now from Miami, and most of them are very young, suddenly they've got lots of money, and they think they rule the world quite often, right? And that they're invincible, both because of their age and because they're rich ball players and everybody treats them like gods. And in Miami, the culture in Miami was reprehensibly irresponsible during the lockdown. And I'm willing to bet it's not a surprise that this problem came out of Florida.
That's true. I never
I'm
really
willing to
thought
bet
about
the
that.
players allowed it to happen by being irresponsible. I could be proven wrong, but for that many people to contract it on the to go detectable on the same day,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen from passing by something where there's infection. Not with that high a percentage of the people. These kids, I'm having trouble seeing how it happened anyway, but they did something really arrogant and stupid.
You mean
now
some
there's
players
something
got
for it.
sick and exposed other players? But what is the thing about testing? I went to get a...
No, I don't mean exposed to other players. I'm willing to bet they were in a social situation, drinking and getting laid,
Partying.
as
Oh.
young guys do.
Tom, this
And
is a
that's
family
a
show.
situation where you could easily get it. But if that's true, somebody's going to talk about it at some point.
What's the story with other teams? Is there any information either you guys know about
Other teams, Soto got approval to come back today.
And he tested positive, or
Yeah, more than once, I believe.
what's the testing regime? There's been a lot of criticism of the tests.
Well, I'm very surprised that they're, like with Philadelphia, when the Philly players got tested, and have you heard the results? I've never heard the results, but it took 2 days to get the results. What is that about?
I don't know.
Like
Why aren't they using equipment that can give them results in a few minutes?
Mike is here.
Because
Yeah.
we're talking about a lot of money when you cancel 2 Yankee games in your stadium.
Yeah.
Of all the teams to have to cancel to.
because I got tested personally just because I think everybody should be tested, and I got my results in like 3 days.
You did. It took a few days for me. It was the end of the Friday.
Right, but you didn't go to a facility with a machine that can read it and spit out the results in 10 minutes, which there are lots of, and baseball easily could have gotten hold of.
Now, but what is it? There was some criticism about the laboratories they picked. I mean,
I don't know, didn't read that.
what is the infrastructure and what is the efficacy of coronavirus testing? When I went to get tested, my sister, who's a nutritionist, said, "Why did you bother to do? Why'd you do it? There's so many false results." Of course, that was 6
Correct.
weeks ago or something. So how are we going
I
to
got
rely on the
tested right
test?
at the beginning because I had a terrible flu.
I remember, yeah.
Everything I had said COVID, right?
Yeah.
But I got a negative test back from a swab, but then I learned that 30% are false negatives.
Right, false negatives.
30%. Right.
That could affect baseball
30% of the
players.
people who got a negative result were actually positive at that time.
So, Mike, do you think how's this going to affect the other sports too, like football?
Or like NASCAR has been doing fine with it. They're doing everything, but they're in New Hampshire this weekend on Sunday, and all these other sports like the NBA, all that's in Orlando.
Well, it's all tightly controlled.
Yeah. Doing it that way is much better than having teams fly, or like New York took a train down to play the Nationals last week. Took an Amtrak train.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
That's true, Tom? They didn't take a plane?
Who, the Nationals? I didn't know that, but
No. The
The
Yankees.
Yankees took a charter. No, they didn't take a charter plane. They took a train.
I don't know. I
must have
didn't
got a
know
good-
that, but I'm sure it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Why not?
Well, this isn't exactly.
In the Northeast Corridor, the train's the best way to get around, really.
Yeah, but how do you control for the contamination?
Or I think it was their own private. They had their own private train, so it's not like they're
Like
on,
the old days, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their own private train, or they had a couple of cars on a train?
cars. Yeah,
Right.
that was
They
the
deep
old
clean
days.
them, which I'm sure they're deep cleaning all the trains anyway.
Do you
I mean,
got?
deep-
Yeah.
You know, you got to understand. Understanding virus transmission is not rocket science. There are certain things we're not precise about, like masks. We're not precise about masks,
Yeah.
but basically we understand viral transmission, and basically this is a virus. You know, we can get through this, and if the Marlins screwed it up for everybody, and regardless of whether they were partying or the team or Derek Jeter's team just wasn't meticulous about making sure everything was done right, which would be not unusual for Jeter in the latter part of his life. Well, it's true. I mean, Jeter, I think, can I get sued for saying something and they say that's not true?
Oh yeah, it's called libel. It's not fun to get sued for defamation. I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, I don't know, so I'll say my truth anyway. He strikes me as a guy who did a fair amount of PEDs.
Oh, that's not what our.
And whereas he was a great guy as a young guy, he was a jerk in the end.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know if you saw the day of Mariano Rivera's last appearance, right? He got out there. This is the only time he's been yanked, I think. He got out there on the mound. He got the first out. And then suddenly somebody walks out of the dugout with his right hand up in the air, with somebody following him. Rivera's just like, what's happening?
yeah, you can't swear, Tom. Come on, you can't swear on the show. And this is really getting us.
Sorry.
And we're getting nowhere.
Right,
You're going
okay,
into
yeah,
a personality. We're talking about the baseball season. There's nothing that he would. He's not the. He's not the controlling owner, by the way, and that's what would he get benefit from that? They're going to probably have to forfeit their games.
He's a leader to the young players.
I don't know that. You have no idea. We haven't been there. The point is that the Marlins might have to forfeit.
But let me finish the story. Pettit and Jeter walked out there, and Rivera starts crying, right?
Yeah, but this isn't an
Because he
interesting
realized
story.
The magnitude of this moment. And so he and Andy have this long hug where Mariano is just sobbing. You can see this on YouTube.
Yeah, but we don't care.
Jeter is standing there waiting to be embraced, but there isn't the same love, and Mariano doesn't.
Which has nothing to do with COVID. It has nothing to do with the season. Tom,
It has to do with Jeter's character. Okay.
Well, you got 10 more minutes.
Jeter's
Maybe we got
character
Peter Stillis calling you.
Perhaps after a lot of performance-enhancing drugs.
That's never been proven, and I've never heard any evidence.
I'm not trying to prove it.
This has nothing to do with
I'm
COVID.
not trying to.
The fact we're talking about.
But we're talking about baseball.
Who cares about the personalities on the Yankees back in the 10, 12 years ago? I mean, the point is that the Miami's not going to be able to play these games, and there's talk about they're going to have to be forfeits. And if the team is like just canceled out, they have 60-man rosters, right, Mike?
I think they have like a 40 man pool right now.
I thought it was 60 originally. That they were going with 60 that they can call on. So it's just maybe 60 for whatever little training they did, then 40. So now they've got 3. If 12 are gone, are these Marlin play? They're on the disabled list, some type of disabled list.
They're not gone indefinitely, but the Marlins are not going to play for a week.
Right. And how are those games going to be made
And
up?
they're not gone indefinitely, but John, let's be honest. First of all, half the teams are in the playoffs, and 16 teams are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And secondly, the Marlins are a non-factor, other than they have to play games against teams for whom number of wins and losses actually will mean something at the end.
Well, yeah. So they're basically have the team will just degrade, and it'll just have certain players playing. But are they waiting for a week to see if other people are infected?
Everybody's getting tested all the time.
Yeah.
Like the White House. And I think they're doing a great job. And where they make mistakes, which we will, they're going to learn and continue to do a great job.
I don't think I don't think they're doing a great job. The proof is what's going on.
I think they are, actually.
That's like trying to prevent war, and you have a war break. They're doing a great job.
Except that only the Marlins have had war breakout.
Well, that we know of, and I hope that's
so
true.
The assumption idiots are making is that because one team did that in the first few days, it's going to happen week after week after week after week to the teams.
It could.
And that's not that it could be true, but it doesn't have to be true at all.
Yeah, but it could.
If they're careful, because again, don't make this thing a bigger tsunami than what it is, other than it's a killer. Yes, it is. But it's a virus. We can manage being in places with dangerous viruses if we're careful. And somehow the Marlin team management or the players weren't careful.
Yeah, but it's got a broader application to all sports, because now we're going to go into football season. You have huddles. It seems like football would be a sport where it would be more prone to having, conducive to spreading coronavirus.
Right, but see, rather than seeing the glasses half empty, this event on the Marlins, a non-factor team, is going to, I guarantee you, make other teams doubly careful.
Well, Major League Baseball.
Because we're talking
controlled.
about a lot of money here, and they don't want to lose it. And the players don't want to lose their salaries. So people are going to be careful. We had one stupid team, but that stupid team may have pushed the rest into doing even a better job than they've been doing so far.
So your point
and the Yankees have been doing a great job. We had a couple of people get it, including Aroldis. But it's going to happen a little bit. And it's actually usually not the end of the world.
Well, we're dealing with a very unique situation, don't you think? A 60-game baseball season.
Yeah, but everything about this situation is unique.
Yeah.
Unless what did they do during the Spanish flu of 17 and 18?
Oh, they had the 1918 season was shortened because of World War I, but 1919 was a full season.
That may explain why the Red Sox won that year.
You're getting close to your 5-minute cutoff, so I would take the sarcasm out of your voice. So you might be KO'd early. Well,
Wait, wasn't that the year you guys sold us the paper?
well, Tom, you only got like 5 minutes because then we're going to have Peter Stoller is going to call in, and next time
Okay.
we'll have one. We'll get you on
I'd like to hear
Skype.
more from the other guests because he's involved in baseball.
Or I've worked for the AA affiliate, but only concessions. Yes, I know people on the staff for the Fish Cats. They're great people. I love working there. I get to see the game for free, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, but all the minor league seasons
Yeah.
just suspended.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Right.
Which is bad for me because I was supposed to work this summer.
Yeah.
But I have a new job, so that's good.
Well, see, if it's Miami and Florida with the looseness of the culture down there causing a more COVID cases, what about teams from like Dallas or Houston? Well, we won't mention Houston's cheating.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't see a problem from them.
Well, that's a good thing though that the baseball can learn and other sports.
Yeah.
Because the other sport
Right.
we're talking about is football, and whether you can have a football season, particularly since in September you're going to have flu is going to hit too. We have no idea. The combination of flu and coronavirus might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how can you predict this stuff? How can you predict what was going
Here's
to happen?
why you can't. Yeah, I mean, you can take guesses, but you can't predict with any certainty. But here's what I think is riding on baseball surviving through the summer and getting to the World Series.
Yep.
If baseball manages to pull this off, it's going to inspire the population and help increase a feeling of, well, the world may be dangerous, but we can actually find ways to go back into the world and be safe there. If baseball closes shop,
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
it's just going to frighten people.
Okay, Tom. On that note, we're going to say goodbye,
Goodbye, Tom.
and
nice talking to you.
We'll have you back. We'll figure out how to get you on at Skype so we can have two people
Yeah,
talking
that's
at the same
awesome, yeah.
time. All right, take care, and I guess we'll handle your F-bomb, in the editing process. But,
I'm really sorry
that's
about
the problem with bringing up the Yankees, Even we want to F-bomb about them. But take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, John.
Yep, bye. Well, that is an interesting thing. If baseball can handle it, do you think baseball will be able to handle it?
Yeah. I think all of it it's a learning process for everybody, and as we learn more, we know how to take more precautions and whatnot, and that's all you have to do is take precautions, and as the virus evolves,
Yeah.
you just have to deal with it and take more precautions as needed.
What precautions are you taking, Mike?
Wearing a mask when I'm out and about.
Say hello to our guest.
Hello, how are you today?
Is that you, Peter?
Hi. Yes, I'm the official guest.
Well, you're our official guest number 2. We had a guest before, a Yankees fan that F-bombed.
With somebody following him, Revere is just like, what is happening?
You can't swear. Tom, come on. You can't swear on the show. He went off on a jag against Derek Jeter for some reason. He's blaming Derek Jeter, who mistreated Mariano Rivera in his farewell. For the situation at Miami that's caused, it's now 17 people are.
Wow.
What do you think about that, Peter? Not about the Yankees.
Well, I mean, as much as I would like to, blame Derek Jeter for the coronavirus, I'm not willing to go quite that far. I think the fact that Miami is located in Miami probably has more to do with that.
Florida, yeah.
But, yeah.
You don't want to blame the Steinbrenner boys? Well, one of them's dead now. I guess Hal's still alive, right? This
Hey, listen, we
could be a
we just had
conspiracy.
another Red Sox managerial passing, too.
What happened? Who died?
Johnny Mack.
Johnny Mack, the first Red Sox manager to win 3 titles. Was it 3 or 2 that he won? Oh, only 2. So.
Geez, was it, I thought it was just like an 86. But,
Oh, I was thinking about Johnny, the guy, we're talking about, that idiot Johnny Mack. He's the one who blew it in Game 6.
the guy who wanted Bill Buckner to be able to celebrate the World Series win in Game 6, so he left him at first base, even though he had the mobility of a mailbox.
5-5 in a delirious 10th inning. Can you believe this ball game at Shea? Oh, brother. 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words.
By Stanley, and a ground ball trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Rounding third Knight. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. They win. Unbelievable. The Red Sox in stunned disbelief. A slow ground ball went right through the legs of Buckner. Down.
Instead of bringing in Dave Stapleton, right? I was in Germany. It was 3:30 in the morning. I had to go off to field maneuvers, so I'm watching this. And I turned to my friend, the only person I ever met from New Hampshire. We have a guest here, Mike Martineau. I turned to my friend and said, who's also named his name Martin. I said, Martin, I can't believe we've just won the World Series. I've waited since 1967. Then all hell broke loose. For many years, I thought I was the person that hexed the Red Sox. But then I met you, and you thought that you'd hexed them too, right? Didn't you break your coffee table or something?
Yeah. Let's face it. We all hexed them.
Or was that the
By
rocking
virtue of
chair?
being born in New England between 1918 and 2004, we gave him the heebie-jeebies.
Well,
Johnny Mack deserves a lot of the blame.
John
I don't think
McNamara.
there's any doubt about that.
he won in '86. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember Bill, who's the big sabermetrician? Bill James said, if I had to pick the players for an all-stupid team, I wouldn't quite know who to pick, for the position players and the pitchers. But I know who I'd pick to manage, John McNamara.
Who was it that said, do you remember, he had, it was for fairly unfathomable reasons that, Johnny's Mac wife was a lovely lady. And was it Pesky who says, Johnny Mack, not really much of a baseball manager, but boy, does he have a great wife?
Jesus. Let's not go down there. This isn't a show about the 1970 Yankees with the wife swapping. Fritz, I can't remember who it was. Yeah.
It was Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich.
Yeah. Well, baseball was kind of strange back in the old days, Mike. What do you think the Miami and the 17 people that have the coronavirus? What's the impact that's going to have on baseball this season?
I don't know, man. They're scrambling. I guess the Marlins are not going to play a game until next Monday or Tuesday
1 week,
at the
right.
soonest. So,
How do they make them?
it's going to be like... I think as silly as it was, even if everything went well, it's degrading before our eyes. Fortunately, nobody was expecting the Marlins to be a serious contender this year. So I don't think it's going to be a huge loss if all of a sudden they're not playing. But let's face it, this whole thing is going to have an asterisk next to it. The size of the Empire State Building, and if they play a World Series, that'll be great. If they don't, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mike, do you think they're going to do the whole season, or are they going to have to switch things
I
around?
don't,
that was for Mike.
All of a sudden, 2 or 3 other teams are reporting
Talks more than I
like
do.
15 positive test results. Then it'll probably implode. But
Maybe
I think
you.
if it doesn't get too much past Miami, they'll probably muddle through it.
I think they should have like a backup team just to throw in there. Like, how the Globetrotters have the Generals to play. You could throw a team in there,
Yeah.
The Miami, whatever. They shouldn't have completely suspended the minor leagues. I mean, I think that was, but of course, that was part of economics, and Major League Baseball is going to use this to rewrite its relationship with minor league ball. They want a lot of minor league teams to contract. Don't worry, they're not going to take away the Blue Jays, the Fisher Cats here. We have the Toronto. We have the Buffalo Jays AA team here, but of course it didn't play, which is sad, isn't it, Mike?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the Buffalo Jays are actually the Buffalo Blue Jays this year, right? I mean, are they supposed to be playing their home games in Buffalo?
Right, which has a very good stadium, but as Mike was telling us, who's worked for the Fisher Cats, the major league players, and the union, they don't like the facilities in a minor league part. But what can you do, right?
No, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing, come on. I think that they, realized that they were going to have to, suck it up, and, they'll be fine. They're going to finish ahead of the Red Sox, I can tell you that much.
Okay, here's the question, trivia question. What is the Buffalo Bison's Robert Redford connection? Mike, can you know that? You know who Robert Redford is, the movie star?
Yeah, I know who he is, but
let's ask the guy, the journalist. What's the connection, Peter?
Wasn't the Natural filmed at that stadium?
That's right. Yeah, which is that's the only film that I cry when I watch, The Natural.
I like that movie a lot. Some people didn't like it. I thought it was kind of hokey, but it was supposed to be hokey.
Oh yeah, but it was so well crafted. And
yeah, it was extremely well crafted hokiness.
Oh yeah. Where else can you have the guy from Walking Tall play Babe Ruth? Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker.
Hey, I use a clip from it on some of my baseball shows, but interestingly, Mr. Baseball had never seen The Natural.
Really?
Yeah, he had no interest in it.
It's probably because the Yankees weren't the main feature in it.
Yeah, and it disses Babe Ruth. Have you ever read the novel? Have you ever read Bernard Malamud's novel? It's quite different from the book.
No, I never did.
What do you think's going to happen? Is this all about just getting to the playoffs and generating some cash, from cable TV?
That's exactly what it is. If they're not able to have a postseason, and they're going to have to return that television contract money to the networks, MLB is in deep sewage. I think what you're going to see, probably anyway, is the announcement next year that they're adding 2 more teams at $1 billion apiece to try to stem the bleeding.
Yeah, but that didn't work in the past, right?
Well, these are extraordinary circumstances, I think they've been angling in that direction anyway. But, yeah, this is all about, trying to get that postseason television money back in their coffers.
Well, they also have a deal now with online betting too. So when you actually think about the games, even if they brought out, a bunch of suited up El Tiante, who's like 800 years old, and brought in one-armed catchers and stuff, you could still bet on the game, right, Mike?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, there's odds, So I feel funny about Major League Baseball having an official connection to betting. I mean, what could go wrong?
Well, yeah, that was, once the Supreme Court decided that the wagering could take place out of the state of Nevada, that was a complete inevitability, I think for all four sports,
Betting.
But,
we're all
Speaking
betting.
of El Tiante, I think he could slip into the number 2 starting position behind Nathan Eovaldi for the Sox right now.
What do you think about the Red Sox pitching? It just doesn't seem to be there. What do you think, Mike? Let's ask Mike.
I haven't watched any games, but it's like I don't recognize anybody on the Red Sox now.
Yeah. What do you think about the pitching? I mean, the Red Sox aren't even being factored in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they'll probably get in the playoffs. Even some dying men can reach home or something. What do you think, Peter?
Well, yeah, you heard about that. Like the day of opening day, they managed to sneak in 6 more playoff teams.
Yeah.
So there's going to be 16, But I think even with 16, no chance. They haven't gone through the 3rd inning without falling behind at least 6-0 yet. That's since opening day.
What happened to the pitching?
It really looks bad.
What happened to the pitching?
Well, I mean, everyone's gone.
Yeah.
Losing Erod was a really bad development. He's gone. Well, David Price is gone.
Yeah.
Chris Sale had Tommy John surgery.
Right.
Porcello is playing somewhere else. They basically lost 4/5 of their rotation.
Yeah. Yeah, and but an old Red Sox team could usually get into July in first place.
Yeah.
Where the
Yeah, well, I mean, even the old Sox, the pitching was never quite as bad as this.
I remember Don Zimmer starting Dick Drago in a game, who hadn't started the game in 12 years. Of course, relievers then went 3 innings.
Yeah. The managers we have lost now. I think the last time I was on the show, wasn't that right after the passing of the great Eddie Casca?
Oh, Eddie Casca, who blew the 74 pennant. He blew it in 72. Red Sox were half a game behind in the 72 American League East. The Billy Martins, Detroit Tigers. LaFleur wasn't on that 72 team, was he? Ron LaFleur, was he? He came up later, right?
Geez, I don't remember, but the 72 team, that was another instance where, because they didn't, MLB couldn't schedule the same amount of games for everybody following the
lockout.
I think there was a strike at the beginning of the season.
It was a lockout.
A couple of weeks or something.
It was a lockout, and they never figured, they had the teams play uneven games, so the Red Sox come up half a game short. The only time in history, although, anything can happen this year. Maybe an eighth of a game short.
Yeah, this year, this year, it's it's going to look like the 1880 American Association or something like
1879,
that.
1879.
Some team in Columbus, Ohio, played 34 games, and everybody else played 150.
1879 they had a 60-game season. In 80 they went to 120 some odd. But you know what they should have done, Mike? They should have split the games up. You play 4.5 innings, and who's ever leading after that, they win a game. Then the next 4.5. Then you could have a 120-game schedule without playing 60 games.
Yeah.
They should have been more creative, don't you think? Are they going to start people?
Yeah, and if they're tied after 4 innings, they could start the next inning with the bases loaded.
Well, you remember back in the 90s when they wanted to, they said they'd bring the fans in by having home run contests if it went into extra innings. I remember you were appalled by that suggestion by some Sports Illustrated. Why not, huh? How do they end How do they end the games now? They put a guy on second, right?
Yeah, taking softballs week because I've been in college softball for 7 years now, and I always love that starting on second rule. I like it because sometimes when you're playing, like I've had to deal with that situation so many times. If you're playing without lights and you have like a if you're playing on a weeknight, that helps because if you start with the bases empty, you don't know when you're gonna get a person on, and that helps.
They should have gone with a bigger ball. Not one of those really grapefruit balls, and metal bats. And then we could have had a 600 hitter. Wouldn't that be exciting, Peter?
Yeah, that's. Yeah, whatever happened to aluminum bats? I was
still in the minor league.
I was expecting that, and
decapitate a pitcher.
Remember the Super Bowls when we were kids? You'd get them for like a dime, and they'd like drop on the floor, and they'd bounce like about 200 feet in the air.
Yeah, that could have been good too. I mean, if you're going to degrade the game, why not go the whole way, right?
Yeah.
I swear there's going to be a 400 hitter. I'd be disappointed if they didn't.
If it was ever going to happen again, it could have happened, this year. I mean, how many times is Tony Gwynn hitting over 400 after 60 games of the season?
Ironically, when he hit 394, he never was at 400 during the entire season. He was just consistently like between 385 and 395. But of course, that was a short season. Whereas Big Brett, when he hit 390, broke 400 at one point. But he only played 118 games, so But of course, that was real baseball and real seasons. I don't know, Peter. I'm sure that we're going to get into it. I'm sure that once the season shakes down. But this is going to be a lesson for what's... Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
I hope they manage to, play the season. Actually, it'd be kind of fun to see, I don't know, say the Oakland A's against the San Diego Padres in the World Series. I'd probably get a kick out of that.
Hey, like the chickens and the egg lady, it could happen, It could.
It could happen.
Well, we got 3 minutes. Why don't you wrap up your many years of baseball experience? Give us 2 minutes of what you think's what is going to happen. Who's going to win, Peter?
L.A.? My many years of baseball experience, I can tell you I have no idea what's going to happen, except for the Red Sox will probably not win 20 games. Other than that, it's a crapshoot.
Oh, geez. Here's a season where, the 74 Red Sox going to romp to the World Series, right? As long as they didn't have to go through August. Or the 78 Red Sox. As long as you didn't have to get through August, in Texas and places. Well, it would have been sweet. Are you going to take a World Series winner seriously for this year? I guess so, right?
Probably, unless if it's a team I like, then I'll say, oh, cool. If it's a team I don't like, I'll say, well, this doesn't count.
You think the Yankees have a chance to win it all?
They do.
Yeah, they're a good team. Some people said Minnesota.
You could pick 10 teams in each league that could easily steamroll through this thing somehow,
Okay, we got to go.
It's really pointless trying to make any predictions, I think,
Okay, we got to go. And next week we're going to have our gubernatorial candidate Don Feltz on, interviewed by Connie Van Houten and Heidi Hamer. And we'll try to get a baseball show up and coming, and you'll be invited, Mike.
Thank you, as always.
And you, Peter, you're back from the beach. Enjoy your family. Enjoy life as it is, folks. And hopefully tomorrow they'll tell me I don't have any real nerve damage. But if I do, Ward 13 will persist. Bye, Peter. Bye, Mike. Bye, folks.
And now, boys, we will take up our arithmetic lesson. No.
6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48.
Stop!
6 times 9 is...
What do you mean keeping these boys in there when there's baseball to be played?
Why, arithmetic.
Arithmetic. 4 times 4 is 16.
Yes.
3 strikes, you're out. That's our arithmetic. Come on, boys, let's go. What do you say?
Hey, will you hit some for us? Yeah.
Well, who's going to do the pitching?
I'm the pitcher.
All right, you do the pitching and I'll do the hitting.
All right. You guys get out in the outfield. Okay. Let it go. I got it. I got it. Let it go. I got it. 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 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48.
Quiet.